Hey everyone, Ali here. So we're going to talk about the different kinds of leases that exist. Whether you're buying an office or you're starting an office from scratch, these are really important details that you need to know as you're starting down this road. As a lease is probably one of the most costly and expensive things that you'll enter into after your home mortgage. So when you think about the likelihood that you'll be leasing for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, you can see how important it is that you get the right lease. So in this video, we're going to talk about the types of leases, and then in other videos, we'll go into a little bit more detail about some of the terms. But there's really three kinds of leases that you need to know. One is called a triple net lease. You know this because it'll have the moniker NNN next to the rental rate. And so those are triple net leases. They're the worst kind of leases to have, but they're the most common lease that you'll find out there. And the reason is because they're very landlord friendly. Basically, with a triple net lease, you'll pay your rental rate, plus you'll pay your fair share of all expenses that the landlord has to pay to operate and own the building. So this includes, potentially repairing walls and repairing roofs and property taxes and common area expenses. If they change a light bulb, you might have to pay your fair share of the light bulb. All those things are things that are passed on to the tenant. You can see why it's considered the worst kind of lease out there, but it is the most common, so you can't avoid it. And if it's an ideal location, you don't want to walk away from it just simply because it's a triple net lease. That being said, usually the rental rate is a little bit lower with triple net leases because of the fact that they're passing on more expenses. So that's number one. The second type of lease is called a full service lease or a gross lease. In these types of leases, they're kind of the opposite of triple net leases in the sense that you pay your rental rate, but you pay nothing more. Everything else is covered by the landlord. So common area maintenance, property tax, all those things are covered by the landlord. In these kind of leases, you end up paying a little bit more on a monthly basis because the landlord has to have more money coming in to cover its expenses. But other than that, there's no difference from a triple net lease. Now the other side of it, this is considered the best kind of lease that's out there because again, you just pay your rental rate and nothing else. But it's also the least common, so it's hard to find these. Sometimes you'll find these in dental or medical buildings. Or Class B type buildings or older buildings, but strip malls and shopping centers, all those kinds of things, or new buildings will all be usually triple net. The third kind of lease out there is a kind of a split between the first two, in the sense that they're considered modified gross leases or base year leases. They go by different names, but basically here you pay your rental rate and then you pay a little bit of other expenses, but not all the expenses that you would normally pay. So, you'll pay a little bit towards common area, you'll pay a little bit to, other things like utilities and other expenses that the landlord may have. Sometimes it's based on a base year, so you pay the difference between a base year and the current year expenses. So these are really good leases as well. There's things that, we advocate for, but it allows you to negotiate heavily with the landlord. So those are the three kinds. Look for those, ask your broker, your commercial broker about them to determine, what kind of lease it is. Don't walk away just because it's one kind over another. Just remember, everything's negotiable with a landlord. So just take the time to negotiate very strongly in that sense. If you don't know of a commercial broker, let us know. We'll introduce you to one. Of course, if you have any other questions about lease renewals or signing a lease and we can answer any of those questions, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to do it. Thank you. Bye.